The Concord Plaza shimmered with artificial daylight. A field of pale blue sky domed above, casting gentle shadows across the stone-paved square. Dozens of species mingled, chirping, humming, clicking in their native tongues, as merchants shouted holographic ads and music from 3 different worlds played in strange harmony. Among the crowd, a human child ran, small feet slapping the stone with carefree rhythm. Luca Voss, 6 years old, grinned as he chased a toy drone weaving between food stalls. His short legs pumped furiously. He wasn't supposed to be out of the human-designated district without a guardian, but the barrier was just a yellow floor stripe. To a child, stripes meant nothing. To Officer Krell Vor, it meant everything. Krell stood rigid near the plaza's center, a sentinel of surreal order. 7 feet of gleaming armor and ceremonial spines, he surveyed the chaos with narrowed eyes. The Zreal prized structure, deviation was disorder. Disorder was danger. When the child crossed the stripe again, giggling, Krell stepped forward. "Stop," he commanded in low Galactic. Luca froze. The drone zipped upward, unnoticed. "You violate territorial compliance. Return at once." The boy stared up, confused. Krell's clawed hand snapped out. Crack. A sound like flesh meeting stone echoed through the plaza. Luca dropped, crumpled on the floor, stunned. One side of his cheek bloomed red with the imprint of a talon. A woman screamed. Gasps. Silence. One by one, eyes turned. Across the square, devices rose. HoloLenses flickered red, recording. A Galari merchant hissed. A Thernian priest backed away, clutching his beads. Even the automated plaza custodians paused their sweep cycles. Officer Krell looked around and calmly retracted his hand. "Corrective discipline," he said flatly. "Per regulation subsection 7C. He never saw the human mother rush forward. Or the medic team that arrived 60 seconds later. Or the small black lens mounted to the wall, quietly uploading a stream straight to Earth's civilian net." Commander Sera Voss sipped her wine slowly, the stem trembling just slightly in her hand. "Did you know the Galari believe humans smell like fruit?" The ambassador beside her chuckled. "They say we taste like citrus." Sera forced a smile. Her comm implant pinged, "Emergency, medical. Relation, Luca Voss." She stood, eyes locked on the message. "Something wrong, Commander? I need to go." "Shall I?" But she was already gone. The human medical unit buzzed with quiet efficiency. Sera burst through the outer doors, bypassing scanners with override authority. Inside, a pediatric nurse met her halfway. "He's stable. Mild cranial trauma. Shock, but responsive. I want to see him." The curtain slid open. Luca sat curled in bed, knees drawn to his chest. The welt on his face had darkened. One eye was nearly swollen shut. "Aunt Sera?" She knelt beside the bed, stroking his hair. "I'm here. I'm so sorry." "I didn't cry," Luca whispered. Sera's throat tightened. She glanced at the nurse. "Who did it?" "Zreal officer. Names in the file. Incident's already gone viral." "What?" The nurse pointed to a wall screen. Dozens of feeds rolled, human child struck on galactic soil. Justice now, #Luca Voss trending with 18 million views in 30 minutes. Sera turned to her lieutenant, who'd just arrived. "I want every angle of footage. Pull Concord's official stream too. They're trying to suppress it." Sera stood. "Then we publish it first." 2 hours later, in a stark white conference room inside Concord's diplomatic wing, the Galactic Council convened an emergency closed-door session. 12 ambassadors, for security heads, and 3 AI representatives dialed in through holochairs. At the head stood Sera, hands clasped behind her back, jaw clenched. Ambassador Zern of the UGA spoke first. "We acknowledge the event. The Concord station regrets any cultural misunderstandings." "That was not a misunderstanding," Sera interrupted. That was an assault. According to Israel code, Officer Krell acted within. He struck a 6-year-old child. Zern hesitated. It is unfortunate. But context matters. Sera stepped forward, placed a palm-sized projector on the table, and activated it. The footage played. Again. From 5 angles. No context softened it. The slap echoed off walls even in silence. This is not real space, she said. This is Concord Station, neutral ground. Subject to multi-species law. He did not intend permanent harm. That's not the measure of justice, she said. Intention didn't leave a bruise on his face. The Galari ambassador cleared his throat. Commander Voss, surely this can be resolved, compensation, perhaps. A statement of regret. You want to buy silence? Diplomacy is built on discretion. Diplomacy, she said coldly, is built on respect. In the hours that followed, the footage spread beyond containment. Earth's networks erupted. Public protests formed outside the UGA embassies in Berlin, Nairobi, Sao Paulo, Lunar Prime. News anchors wept on air. Politicians screamed in parliament. And the silence from the Galactic Assembly only amplified the fury. Sera stood on her apartment's balcony, watching the slow crawl of ships in the docking lanes. Her lieutenant joined her, tablet in hand. It's out of control, he said. 30 million views. 13 human colonies have declared planetary mourning. Sera didn't turn. What's the Assembly's move? They've issued a statement: humanity must remain calm in the face of cultural conflict. Sera smiled bitterly. Prepare a transmission. The broadcast reached every major channel within 10 minutes. Sera stood in full dress uniform, her voice level but burning. We are not an empire. We don't crave power. We only ask for dignity and peace. But strike one of ours, strike a child. And know this. We will not break your laws. We will not start your wars. We will simply outlast you. Outthink you. Outmaneuver every system you hide behind. And when justice comes, it will not whisper. It will roar. The message ended. And across the galaxy, silence fell. The following morning, the Concord station felt colder. Not physically. The climate control remained stable. But there was a weight in the air, a tension that hummed through walls and corridors, passed silently between glances and whispered conversations. Commander Sera Voss walked with purpose through the diplomatic wing. Her boots clicked against polished floors as 2 aides flanked her, streaming data from a dozen news sources. Status, she asked. Earth's Grand Council passed Resolution 17, demanding Officer Krell's arrest and a public trial under Unified Concord law. Official response from the Assembly? None yet. But internal memos are leaking. Several species want to vote for censure, others are calling for delay. Sera stopped in front of the council chamber's double doors. They're waiting for us to lose control. Her aide nodded grimly. Or to start a war. She stepped inside. The room was quieter than usual. Hollow echoes danced beneath the vaulted ceiling. The chairs of the assembly members hovered in a circle, projections of distant worlds spinning faintly behind each representative. Ambassador Zern's image materialized first. Commander Voss, he said, the assembly recognizes your presence. But I must remind you, your authority in this matter. I'm not here for authority, Sera interrupted. I'm here for accountability. The hologram of Israel envoy flickered in next. Tall and expressionless, he folded his hands. Officer Krell acted within his rights as defined by his species' code of discipline. This isn't real space, Sera said. He was following procedure. Human emotional responses are not grounds for galactic condemnation. Sera took a breath, then placed a device on the central dais. A projection burst to life, lines of reports, internal security documents, testimonials from previous ignored human grievances across Concord and other diplomatic outposts. This isn't about emotion, she said. It's about a pattern. This wasn't the first. It was simply the one you couldn't hide. Across the galaxy, the message struck harder than any declaration of war. Footage of Luca's assault had already sparked global outrage. Now the leaked files, showing years of mishandled assaults, systemic disrespect, and bureaucratic avoidance, fanned the flames. On Luna, protesters surrounded the Israel embassy, chanting justice for Luca. On Mars, flags flew at half-mast. In the Earth orbitals, banners unfurled across stations, "We remember every child." But most disturbing to the UGA were the ships. Human vessels, silent, black-hulled cruisers, had begun to anchor themselves in neutral orbit around Concord and other galactic hubs. They didn't broadcast threats. They didn't move offensively. They simply sat there, their weapons systems cold, but unlocked. Waiting. At the human consulate, Sera stood in front of a wall-size feed showing the number of systems broadcasting solidarity. Colonies on Proxima, Tau Ceti, Gliese, and Vega have declared full diplomatic withdrawal, her lieutenant said. They'll no longer participate in UGA forums unless Officer Krell is extradited. Military? Fleet Command has put all diplomatic detachments on high alert. They've shifted all non-essential crews from civilian stations back to armed ships. Casualties? None. Damage? Only to the Assembly's pride. Sera didn't smile. She turned to the smaller screen beside her, Luca's recovery feed. He was awake now, eating jelly cubes and quietly watching cartoons from Earth. His mother sat beside him, holding his hand. A ping. A message from Earth's president of the council. Hold the line. Do not strike first. But let them see our resolve. The assembly met again the next evening. This time, more holographic seats appeared, representatives from previously neutral species now joining the conversation. The Drenari, the Thalmok, even the elusive Shalith. Zern looked older, his light-drenched robes dimmer than usual. We urge de-escalation, he said, measured. The incident was regrettable, but to destabilize galactic peace over a child. Over a child? Sera's voice was sharp. You mistake our silence for submission. We've been patient. We've followed your laws. But one of ours was harmed. And the response was silence. The Shalith ambassador spoke, a rare event. Commander Voss. What would you have us do? Return Officer Krell to stand trial. Here. Publicly. Under Concord law. That would violate Sriel sovereignty. Then perhaps Sriel sovereignty has no place on shared soil. A murmur rose through the chamber. The Thalmok diplomat tilted his head. You'd risk a diplomatic fracture? You already fractured it, Sera said, calm but cold. We're just choosing not to hide it anymore. By morning, the human net spun with a single phrase, we do not break. We bend the galaxy. Luca's face, bruised but smiling, became the symbol of unity. Artists on Titan created murals. Streamers on Europa held vigils. A child's resilience became a planet's roar. The assembly tried once more. They offered reparations. A formal apology. They proposed a new regulation, an educational campaign on interspecies boundaries. Sera declined them all. Inside the human warship Talon's wake, stationed in orbital position above Concord, General Orrin Hale appeared on Sera's comm. Do we engage? No, Sera said. Not unless they strike first. Public wants action. They're getting it. But not the way they expect. She turned, eyes cold as ice. They'll see that humans don't scream into the void. We reshape it. That night, Sera received a private transmission. From Luca. His voice was small, tired, but steady. Aunt Sera? I didn't cry. But, will they ever say sorry? Sera looked at the ceiling, then back at the screen. Maybe. But we're not waiting for sorry, Luca. We're making sure it never happens again. By the third day, the assembly's silence had turned into unease. Then unease turned to fear. Because somewhere deep within Earth's defense system, a classified protocol was activated. And a single phrase lit up every human diplomatic terminal. Sovereign Son, Condition, Amber. The galaxy didn't know what it meant. But humanity did. And so did Sera. Because the next time she stepped into the council chamber, she wasn't in uniform. She was in armor. And the countdown had already begun. The silence above Concord Station broke at 0400 hours. Across dozens of star systems, every human vessel initiated protocol. Sovereign Sunday civilian signals cut. External lights dimmed. All ships rotated, slow and synchronized, facing outward in every direction like a fleet of judgment. Weapons remained cold. But they were no longer docked. No longer idle. Humanity didn't declare war. They declared presence. In the council chamber, the change was felt before it was seen. Lights flickered. Transmissions lagged. Holochairs buzzed with static as AI relays rerouted through emergency channels. Ambassador Zern appeared first, face tight. We have reports of human vessels disrupting comms across 6 stations. Sera Voss stood at the center of the chamber. This time, not in uniform. She wore black exo-armor, matte-finished, adorned with the insignia of Earth's Interstellar Tribunal. A full-body statement. Justice. Not war. She tapped the table and activated a new display. Dozens of real-time videos from human ships appeared, silent, motionless but ready, stationed above assembly-linked colonies. We disabled nothing. All communications are intact. You're simply no longer at the top of the channel queue. You're bluffing, said the Zreal ambassador. No. We're done whispering. On Earth, millions gathered in unity. No riots. No burning flags. Just silence. Families wore black. Children held candles. Screens in every city displayed one image, Luca, smiling through a healing bruise. The caption read, "This is why." General Orrin Hale's voice echoed in Sera's earpiece. "Galactic attention's on you, Commander. Are you sure they won't retaliate?" "They won't," she replied. "Because for the first time, they don't know what we'll do next." Inside the chamber, Sera placed her final card. "I have a document. Passed unanimously by the Human Global Council. All Earth-aligned territories and colonies have suspended cooperation with the United Galactic Assembly. No votes. No funding. No presence, until Officer Krell is surrendered and tried." A heavy silence followed. The Shalith envoy, normally passive, leaned forward. "Commander Voss, your restraint is instructive. This isn't about revenge," she said. "It's about precedent. If Krell walks free, every child in the galaxy becomes less safe. And if we hand him over, then you prove you believe in more than talk. You prove the laws here mean something." Meanwhile, Officer Krell had been moved into high-security quarters, shielded by Concord security. But the pressure was building. Staff protested. Other alien officers resigned or requested reassignment. The Zreal embassy was besieged by data spikes, peaceful but unrelenting. Internal UGA messages leaked, "We underestimated human cohesion. Their silence is more dangerous than threats." Sera didn't need weapons. She had the will of 10 billion behind her. An hour later, the decision was made. Not with fanfare. Not with applause. Just a quiet knock on Sera's door. A Concord officer handed her a datapad. "He's yours." The trial was set for the following day. Not hidden. Not in some backroom chamber. But streamed live across the galactic net, hosted in the very heart of Concord Plaza. A neutral AI judge presided. A panel of multi-species observers joined. Human civilians sat in the front rows, diplomats, soldiers, teachers, children. Luca watched from a hospital bed, his mother by his side. Krell was escorted in, shackled. Still defiant. Still convinced his actions had been lawful. Sera took the floor. This isn't vengeance. It's clarity. She played the footage again, but this time, added a new clip, testimonials from alien children raised on human colonies. Tears. Gratitude. Fear. Then Luca's voice. I didn't cry. But it scared me. I thought, maybe they don't think I matter. The chamber grew still. Even Krell lowered his gaze. The AI delivered its ruling. Guilty. Violation of interspecies conduct. Assault on a minor. Abuse of diplomatic immunity. Sentence, removal from duty, permanent ban from multi-species jurisdiction, reparation to the Voss family, and compulsory cultural ethics rehabilitation under human oversight. Justice, not perfect, but public, undeniable, and final. The ripple was immediate. Across colonies and core planets, species began revising their codes. Protocols were rewritten. Officers retrained. Diplomatic immunity now included a clause, subject to override in cases involving minors of any species. The UGA passed what they called the Luca Amendment. Sera didn't celebrate. She simply returned to the med bay. Luca was sitting up, building a tower from toy blocks. When he saw her, he grinned. You did it. No, she said. You did. Just by being strong. He looked down. He said he was sorry. Sera tilted her head. Do you believe him? I don't know. Me neither. She sat beside him and helped stack another block. 3 weeks later, the Concord Plaza returned to normal. Merchants sang again. Drones zipped around. Children, of every kind, ran through the square. There was no floor stripe anymore. The council had voted to remove all species-specific zones. Luca walked freely now. No guards. No boundaries. Just a child, smiling. Sera watched from above, hands resting on the railing. Her armor locked away. Her voice, now history. One of her aides approached. Message from Earth. The council wants to promote you. Tell them I'm not finished here. They asked what title you want. She thought for a moment. Then smiled. Keeper of the line. Humanity hadn't fired a shot. But the galaxy remembered the day it roared. And understood that its silence had a sound.